What's up, guys? Welcome back to Off the Record with Finn, where we talk about nothing but the truth. So, I'm here with Dane. Are you excited to be on this podcast?
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to be on this podcast. Thanks for inviting me.
Yep, you're welcome. Well, today we're going to be talking about his experience in the Navy and running and all that stuff. So, first question is, what is your name and what are you majoring in for school?
Well, my name is Dane. Yep, and I'm majoring in finance right now. I go to Penn State online, and I'm working towards a finance degree. So about halfway through it.
That's good.
So yep.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really like finance, but you know how school is.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough sometimes. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good time.
All right. Well, moving on to the Navy. Tell me about your experience.
So I enlisted in the Navy right out of high school. So
Uh-huh.
back in 2018, July of 2018, I shipped off to boot camp. Navy boot camp, for all y'all that don't know, is in Illinois. So it's not too far from where you're at there in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of by Chicago, Illinois. And I did 2 months boot camp
Yeah.
there, and then did another 2 months there. And then went over to San Diego, California for a year or so.
Yeah.
Then spent some time in Florida, and then over to Norfolk, Virginia, where I spent about 2.5 years. So most of my time was spent in Virginia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you. Okay. The next question is, well, what was the hardest thing you went through in the Navy?
Hardest thing I went through.
Like mental challenge or.
Well, being away from family, that's always rough.
Yeah.
Deployment was probably one of the toughest because
Yeah, for sure.
our ship left right as COVID was started.
Uh-huh.
So we did not get to touch land for about 6 or 7 months straight.
Jesus.
We were just out on the ship, just floating around for 6 or 7 months, and that's pretty tough.
What's it like being on the ship? It's tiny.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny. You don't have a ton of room. I mean,
Yeah.
think of like the size of this couch. It's about the size of your bed, and it's where you store all your clothes and all your
Yeah.
personal items. And but yeah, you're floating around, and it's a lot of people crammed into a small ship. So you get used to it, though.
Yeah. How many people were on the ship?
We had probably a little over 300.
Okay.
So yeah,
Was it just guys, girls?
it was a mix, you guys and girls, but mostly guys. Probably 80% guys.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But you have your separate living quarters that you sleep in, and
Okay.
but yeah, you can all do the same job. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Did you ever feel like you were going to give up? Like, did you ever feel I could ask you this for running too? Did you ever feel like you were going to give up on Navy and running?
Yeah. There's some times where you wish you were doing something else besides being in the Navy. And you wish you could change it, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Definitely.
you stick with it, and
Yeah.
it gets better. It's like anything in life. You're down for a little bit, but then it comes back around, and you're back into the good. Just like running. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
good days running, there's bad days running. Even within a single run,
Mm-hmm.
1 mile you might feel good, and the next you might feel terrible, but it usually comes back around. So.
Well, speaking of running, how did you get into running?
Well, I got into running because of the Navy. I started training to join the Navy's. Picked up running a little bit. I wasn't running much back then. I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe I still don't, but yeah, I just kind of picked it up a little bit, and then over time, I just realized that I really liked the challenge of it, and I really enjoyed doing it a lot. So I just kept doing it more and more, and now here I am, running quite a bit.
You ran 26 miles. What was that like? When was that?
That was just this past weekend. Yeah.
Is that on days like that? Do you Is it hard?
Yeah, maybe not this past weekend especially, but there have been like longer races where you're out there for hours and hours, and it gets tough, especially towards the end where everything's starting to hurt more and more, and you might still have 10 or 15 miles to go, which
Yeah. But you just with anything, you kind of just gotta like battle it out and just go to the finish.
Yep, one step at a time. Just keep moving forward, and eventually you'll get there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how fast, but as long as you get there.
Yeah. Well, you have a race coming up in March. Are
Mm-hmm.
you prepared for that?
Yeah, I'm pretty prepared. The race is March 12th, so we're maybe 2.5 weeks out,
Yeah.
and it's a half marathon. So, yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. Where's that at?
It's in Reading, Pennsylvania, maybe an hour or so from here.
Okay.
So,
What kind of course is it? Trails.
it's just like kind of like we were on this afternoon, just
Stuff.
flat, and
Yeah.
it's along the river up there. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, what time? Like, is that like your typical race, like 8 a.m. stuff like that?
Yeah, this one starts a little later. I think it's like maybe 10 a.m. or something.
No,
But
not early.
yeah, it's not super early. But yeah, it's a typical. They have the half marathon, and then I think they also have a 5 mile race as well. And I think you all start at the same time. Just you do different courses, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoy the half marathon distance.
Yeah. What? Going back into the Navy. What time did you wake up every day? I heard it's early.
It is early, and it depended on where at in my career I was. Early on, you're waking up probably 4:30 maybe.
For boot camp, like.
For boot camp and out in San Diego, it was early mornings.
Yeah.
When I got to Florida, I slept in a little more, maybe till 6,
Mm.
5:36, and then in Norfolk, I probably woke up. Most of my days probably 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's early, not terribly early, but
4:30 though.
4:30 is rough.
Jeez.
3:30 sometimes. Yeah, it's
3:30.
yeah. You
What are you doing all day though?
working.
Shoot at work.
Yeah, boot camp you don't have a choice. Anywhere in the Navy you don't have a choice. You gotta do it.
You just
Mhm.
You just deal with it.
Yeah, and you get used to it.
Well,
Might always suck,
Yeah.
but
Well, I heard you run a lot in the Navy. So like, how many miles every day would you run?
on average, probably like 7 or 8 miles a day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I heard this. Well, I heard like you run 3 every day.
Oh well.
Who lied to me, or if anyone. But
Well,
you said
when
7, 8.
I'll be honest with you, outside once you leave boot camp, most people in the Navy don't ever run ever again.
Why?
You don't have to. I mean, there's the physical fitness test you have to pass.
Uh-huh.
I guess twice a year, but you don't technically have to run that. You can bike it or whatever.
Huh.
Here comes Ava.
Why didn't you let us in earlier?
I wasn't here.
Or were you?
I was in the park with Scarlett.
Oh, well, you could have told us that. Was it? Oh, speaking on the Navy, was it hard to wake up super early?
Oh yeah, it's hard to wake up early, but you get used to it.
I need to know where you want me to order the pizza from.
The place we were talking about earlier.
PJ's cool.
Okay.
Let's go back up.
Well, oh, what kind of you do they still do MREs?
Not really. Oh, in the military, yeah, but not like
Not the Navy.
not on a ship. No, it's MREs are mostly more for like Army or Marine guys out in the field.
What did you eat for when you were in boot camp? What kind of food?
Like your typical high school cafeteria food. Nothing special. Honestly, probably a little worse than high school cafeteria food.
High school, I don't know your experience, but when I used to do it, I don't do it anymore for high school because I can just pack my lunch and stuff.
Mhm.
But for middle school, it was rough.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Not very good food.
When you were on the ship, what did you eat then?
Honestly, the same type of thing. Every once in a while, they'd have some good stuff, but they kind of have special days. So, at least our ship did. Tuesdays would be Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wednesdays were burger and hot dogs.
Mhm.
Fridays, what were Fridays? Pizza and wings. So
That's pretty good.
yeah, I mean, no one said they had to be good pizza or wings, but
Yeah, that's facts.
yeah.
Well, what would I want to go into the Navy? So, what would you say anyone going into the Navy? What would you recommend, or I guess
I
say?
recommend be in decent physical shape. Make sure you can definitely pass the fitness test.
And what's the fitness test?
Let's see, what was it? Yeah, it was
Sit-ups.
push-ups, sit-ups, and a run. But they're starting to like change some stuff. But you definitely have to be able to do push-ups.
Yeah.
I'm
Instead of good on that.
yeah, that's good. And then instead of sit-ups, they're doing a plank now. I think they moved to that.
Oh, I hate planks so
Yeah.
much.
So we got to do that. And then
Was it like a minute, 2 minutes?
I don't know what the minimums are. They kind of change based on age and gender, but yeah, you'd probably want to aim for 2 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, planks are not easy.
yeah, they're very strict about it too. So and then a run, but you can switch out the run. You could either bike it or swim.
How far is the run? Do you
Or
remember?
row. It's a mile and a half.
That's
It's not
bad.
crazy far. No. Yeah, you wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah, easy. Oh, well. Yeah, for the, going back on the Navy, this is like one of the last questions, but, like, would you say it's like, I guess, like, did you ever feel like homesick, or was it hard?
Oh, definitely. Definitely hard being away from family because, like I said, I was right out of high school, so I lived with my parents for the last 18 years at that point, so that's all I knew. And I come from a place where my whole family, like cousins and everything, we're all real close to each other. So,
Yeah.
and then in California, you're 3 hours time difference, so
Jeez.
your schedules don't always line up. And then when I was on deployment, I was on the other side of the world, so it's like 12-hour difference, and
Yeah.
it's real tough to talk to people then. And you don't see them for a while.
What's the deal with the phone thing? I heard Audrey was saying on the podcast. She was saying that you kind of you had your phone taken away for a while.
Well, yeah, on deployment, since you're in the middle of the ocean, you don't have cell service. There's no cell towers out in the middle of the
Oh,
Atlantic
when you were on
Ocean.
the ship.
Mm-hmm. So what they did is they had one phone on the ship
Mm-hmm.
that we could all use. It was like an old phone. It's a Navy phone, really. You gotta like push the button to talk into it, and it's not very clear. Like you can
No.
barely hear people talking, and they can barely hear you. But that's all I had for 8 months or so. So.
Well, what about did you wrote letters? Audrey was saying that you
Mm-hmm.
did write letters.
Yeah, I wrote letters a lot, especially during boot camp. Because in boot camp, you don't have any phone at all.
Oh, in boot camp.
You call your family maybe twice, 2 or 3 times in boot camp.
Oh,
So.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, they're real strict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When do you? Because I don't know about this. I see TikToks where people are on their phones in the army and stuff, and they're not really doing anything. But when would you say you kind of have like the most freedom with that?
When you get out of school, so after boot camp, after any boot camp, you go to like a special school then where you learn a specific job that you're gonna do.
Uh-huh.
So boot camp is very strict, and then you go to that school and it's a little less strict, but you're still pretty new, so they keep the rules on you. Well, then typically once you get to like your final command, like for me that was the ship, then rules really loosen up and you're treated like a real human being again. But there's still rules, but you live a normal life. It's just instead of going to an office down the road, you go to the ship in port. And
Yeah. Well,
work there.
what are you planning on doing like after high school? Like, I mean, not high school. What am I saying?
After college.
After you major in finance, like where are you gonna take it?
Yeah, so you can go a lot of avenues in finance. That's what's really nice about it.
Do you want to be like a banker or that kind of finance?
I probably won't get into banking at all. I like to stay more small business finance, and maybe there's some certifications you can get, right? There's certified public accountants or chartered financial analysts, which requires more school and a certification test, but there's that avenue. But as long as I can work finance and then somewhere I like agriculture a lot, so if I can do them both together,
Yeah.
I'd be happy. So it's pretty much what I'm doing now, so I'm already in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.